Welcome back to the Stat 201 Beyond the Lecture video series. This is lesson 2.4, which is all about the 5-number summary. So we're going to talk about quartiles and how to make a box plot in this video. So why this matters is in research, we want to be able to summarize the features in our data in a very interpretable way. So we want something that's easy for people to digest and summarizes all of our data in quick and easy fashion. So I'm going to talk about the box plot first. Notice it's called a box plot because there is a box in the middle. Sometimes we call it a box and whisker plot because it has whiskers on the side. If you notice, there are a total of 5 vertical lines on this box and whisker plot, and they go with 5 different summaries. So the first one is the minimum, the last one is the maximum, we have the median in the middle, the first quartile there, and the third quartile there. Notice I'm using the word quartiles here. The quartiles are just designed to split the data into quarters. So we'll actually use Q0 to represent the minimum, Q1 to represent the first quartile, Q2 to represent the median, Q3 to represent the third quartile, and Q4 is the maximum. Again, I mentioned this splits the data into quarters, so the minimum has 0% of the data below it and 100% of the data above it. The maximum is the reverse of that, so it's 100% of the data is below it and 0% of the data is above it. The median splits it right down the middle, so 50% above and 50% below. And since we're talking about quarters, the first quartile has 25% of the data below it, just like 1/4, and 75% of the data above it. For the third quartile, it switches it, so it's got 75% of the data below it and 25% of the data above it. Now, this is the 5-number summary. It's these 5 numbers. So the minimum, the first quartile, median, third quartile, and the maximum. We can still find 2 more things, but these are not technically part of the 5-number summary. The other 2 things we can find are the range, which gives us the total width of the data. We do that by taking the maximum minus the minimum. So it's going to tell us how long this whole plot is. So that's going to be our range. And then the interquartile range is going to just tell us the box's width. And so we find that by taking the third quartile minus the first quartile, and it's going to tell us just that part of the picture, how wide that is. So that's going to be the IQR, which is the interquartile range. That being said, I'll go ahead and jump into my example. And so here we have the McCutcheon House is a restaurant learning lab operated by students in the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at the University of South Carolina. On a recent day, the staff recorded the number of people in each party. So that's going to be the variable that we actually measure. And we're going to have a total of 13 lunch reservations. So that's our sample size. This information was collected to help planning, table assignment, staffing, and service. Now is a great time to pause the video so you can try it on your own. This is going to be the 5-number summary first. So in order to do this, the first thing you want to do is sort the data. For us, I already have the data sorted from smallest to largest, so that kind of handles that problem for us. I will say that the minimum and maximum should be the first 2 things you find. So the minimum in this case is the 1 because it is the smallest number in the data set. The 12 is going to be the next one I find. That's going to be the maximum. It is the largest number in the data set. Notice that's why we wanted to sort the data first. The next thing I'll do is try to find the median, which is the thing in the middle. So I'm just going to cross numbers off until I end up in the middle. So I'm taking them off down until there's 1 or 2 left. So there we have the median, which is this number 4. I will mention that sometimes we end up having 2 numbers in the middle, and when we have that, we would add them up and divide by 2, and that's how we find the median. The only other thing left to do to find the 5-number summary is to find the first and third quartile. Those are pretty straightforward once you realize that all we do is we find the median of the bottom half and the top half. What we need to do for this part, though, is split the data down the middle. Since the median is one particular number, I'm going to ignore it. If there were 2 numbers in the middle, I'm just going to draw a line where that number would be. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to find the median of this bottom half. So 1 and 4 are gone, 2 and 3 are gone. I have 2 numbers in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line down the middle, and that's going to be my Q1. That's going to be my first quartile. Notice if I add up 2 and 2 and divide by 2, we still get the number 2. So our minimum is 1, our Q1 is 2, our median is 4, our maximum is 12. I still need to find the third quartile, so we'll do the same thing. 4 and 12, 5 and 8. We're left over with 6s. So again, I'll look straight down the middle. That's going to give me a third quartile of a 6. So I've got 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12 is my 5-number summary. I can use that in the next part to sketch the box plot. So what I'm going to do, again, is I'm just going to use those 5 numbers. So I'm going to look back. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12. That's my 5-number summary. This one, again, was the median in the middle. We make the box out of Q1 and Q3. There's Q1, there's Q3. And then we make our whiskers to the minimum and to the maximum. And so that is a box plot that represents the same data, and it's just 5 numbers representing the 13 lunch reservations. The last thing I'm going to do is calculate the interquartile range and the range. Again, you can pause the video here and try these on your own. Now I'm going to go back and say, in order to do the range, I need to know what the maximum and the minimum were. So the maximum was 12, the minimum was 1. So the range, again, is max minus min. So it is 12 minus 1, which is 11. And for the interquartile range, we need to subtract Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 was 6 and Q1 was 2. So for the IQR, we're going to do Q3 minus Q1, which is 6 minus 2, which gives me 4. So those are the 2 numbers that we need. Just to recap, the 5-number summary consists of the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum, Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Q1 and Q3, the first and third quartiles, are the medians of half of the data. And the last thing I want to do is just make sure you remember that the interquartile range and the range are not actually part of the 5-number summary. They are results of the 5-number summary. All right, see you in the next one.